Oh, here we are again. Another day, another 50 pence, or 50 cents. Just a bit more of a catch up from the what's going to be, all I was going to call the video originally "All in a Day's Work." I think it's now going to be "All in a Day or Two's Work." But anyway, yeah, I'm just going to show you guys. At the weekend, I said I've got a few jobs to do. Well, I've just I didn't get as much done as I wanted with other things cropping up, but I've just finished grinding out all my blanks. So just finished, shaping the edges. These are all ready now. Well, basically everything on here needs all the drill holes doing. So some of the blanks, some aren't. These are actually going to become knives. So as I said, once I've finished the drill holes and then cleaned everything down, as you can see, this was originally going to be a blank, and I've cleaned it up. So once I've got the faces clean, and then decided on the bevels for them. All these are going to go with the other ones that are still hung up, and that's going to be cracking on and practicing the bevels, as I was saying. Prior to that, I'm just going to finish drilling all the holes out. On the templates, there'll be 3mm holes. The reason for that is my punch fits really nicely through the 3mm hole, so it gives me a nice centre when I'm transferring the marks onto the blades. Just trying to keep things nice and even and consistent, so even things like the holes on the handle, that's showing through. Trying to keep everything really nice, smart, consistent, whether anybody's going to see it or not. So that's where they're at. I've just put my grinder back. I've been using it to do the handle contours. I used it on the small wheel attachment. I've absolutely no idea why. I'm going to have to probably email and ask, but on this, this is a little buddy grinder. Not much options over here for grinders, really, unless you know an engineer, who I don't. But for some reason, when I've got the small wheel grinder on, I always have to run it in reverse. If I try to put it forward, no matter what I do with the tracking wheel and trying to set it up, it just literally throws the belts off and chews them to pieces. But running it backwards runs absolutely spot on. The only problem with that is, which I hadn't thought of, is once the table is tilted up to here, I'll show you. Oh, dropping off my mate's. There we go. Once the table's tilted up to here, and the belt is actually running in that direction, all the crap just came all over here. Piles of it. Once I started, oh bugger, I'll just keep on going. But yeah, there were crap all over the place. And as you can see from that, it's just a little bit high, a little bit awkward. But actually, even saying that, on its side here, so you're working off a wheel, it just felt a lot easier to get everything nice and square. I was really pleased with the way it took the way the grinding went. For putting the finger grooves on some of the stuff. So definitely works, so I'm pleased about that, definitely works. So I'm going to crack on now, and I'm not going to completely bore you to death by making you stand there watching me drill holes. I do intend, now I'm improving on things, I've just googled today, I went to old Dr. Google, and sourcing a, what do they call it, video editor, a video editing program, a really basic video editing program, which will be really good because I've got all these clips put together. So I'm sourcing that, and when I go back in the house after I've done some more work here, it's already getting late, but such is life when you've got a full-time job and other commitments. I'm doing things when I can. Most beloved's out at yoga, so freehand really. For a program for that, and I'm just going back to using that, so at least I can get these things on. So right, onward, next job. Well, here we have the batch of knives that were previously on the other table, just for getting ready. So, as I say, one of my big jobs once I'm ready for it is just grinding bevels, and that's what all these are for. I've actually just blued all the blades up. They're all being re-blued, just drying at the moment. But obviously, all the edges needed bluing, so I can actually mark the centre lines and the depth that I want to grind to. So they're all just about ready for that piece of work to start. Got a smaller pressure pot that I'm going to use for stabilising, because my original one here just took up too much, unless I was going to do like dozens and dozens at a time and use large amounts of fluid. It was just too big. So anyway, hopefully that will just let me do a small number at a time. I currently have half a dozen up here. Have you noticed I've just put a shelf in? So I'll give myself some more workspace, because I was just basically almost like less than 2/3, so probably about half of this table was my main work table, and it was just getting absolutely full of stuff. So I've put my little oven up there. That's just my little box that I keep the projects in. That's a little one after watching, I think, one of Jack Law's videos, just to divvy up, so I'll do a small number at a time. So that's where these are at. And then over here, I was doing a bit of testing on some of the previous scales I did, which had been stabilised, and I've been cleaning up all my blanks and everything on the wheel, which I showed you last time. So that's going back to having the platinum and everything put in it, so I can do the grinding, which is hopefully getting close to my next agenda. Oh, hi guys, back for another couple of jobs. Just thought I'd just show you where I'm at on here, and bit of trying out this smaller pot for doing my stabilising. So seems to have worked really well. Takes half a dozen blocks, which is just enough for me, plenty for me. Had these in yesterday, Sunday. It's Monday evening now. They had, well, the last time you saw these, they were actually up in my little cooker, which I've also now built a shelf in here because I just completely ran out of space on this table. I was just not able to do anything. So I put myself a shelf up there, got the stove out, got the cooker out of the way, and I've got some more stuff I can put up there. And so they had 8 hours in the oven. Then it took about, just over 4, I don't know, well, it was a good bit over 4 hours with the pump running till the bubbles stopped. These will stay in here now, although I haven't marked the resin, although it's visibly gone down, but these will stay in here now till Thursday night anyway. They're going to have at least 3-4 days in there, maybe even more if I keep seeing the level drop. So I don't rush with these, there's no point. And obviously once the scales come out, then they'll get quick wipe down, wrapped in foil, and then they go in the oven. These will go in the oven in the house. And the reason I tend to put them in the oven in the house is it's much more reliable than the small toaster oven. And from what I've read, I've no experience with that, but from what I've read, basically baking the scales with the resin is a one-shot deal. So if you don't get it right the first time and they don't set, that's it, they're binned. So I don't really take a risk. They'll be wrapped in foil, they'll go into the oven preheated, and again I preheat them. Visually it's a bit hard to tell whether that's really doing any good, but my cunning plan behind that, sorry about scratching here, I've had the lads down to the reserve and black fly bites, I've got welts on my bloody ankles, I've gone down in my jandals and forgot to put some blooming insect repellent on them. Black fly having a right go, sandflies having a right go up my legs. So yeah, I'll wrap them in foil, and like I say, I preheat the oven before I put them in. My cunning plan being that hopefully the outer edge, obviously once it gets to heat, will start to bake and go hard and keep more of the resin on the inside, which is obviously the whole point of it. But like I say, it's Monday now, they'll stay in there, they won't even get baked until Thursday or Friday night. So it's a long drawn out job really, almost a day running between it's 12 hours between the heater and the vacuum pump. And like I say, this little jar's worked really well. Just hear, the tales of jars exploding, or imploding. So it's something you've got to be careful of. If you do a technique like this where you're using a sweet jar, they say be very careful you don't bang them or knock them when the vacuum's running. They just tend to shatter. But what I did, I put my small one into my old one. And I thought, well, at least if that explodes, at least, or implodes, it's going to keep everything in one point. But everything seems to have held up really well. So very pleased with that. So that's another job done. Another job lined up for later on in the week. All the background stuff that goes on to making knives. And then, like I say, my next job in here now, all the blanks that I showed you last time, these have all dried now. So they need the centre lines marking. And then I can get on and get some blooming grinding done. So with that guys, catch you in the next few minutes. Well guys, hi there again. Just showing you where I'm up to here. In that I've just been getting some of the my grinding practice going. I'm not sure if you noticed, but what I'm feeling here is I've just put another video out about a bit of a roundup and a Merry Christmas one, which was one of the last ones I put on. And one of the things I was talking about was practicing my grinding and my bevels, and feeling like I've done everything in the last year but actually make knives. And funnily enough, it's just getting exactly the same feeling again today, that although I'm actually doing the grinding, the big thing I'm concentrating on is my stance, my technique, keeping my elbows in, making things consistent, making sure my stance is exactly the same on both sides, that my hold is exactly the same, that my body movements are the same, and that's really all I'm thinking about. And I've just got my little batch of knives here. These are the first sort of like ones I've got to this point. These are actually the ones I'm pretty happy with the bevels actually. I know they're not perfect, but I'm pretty darn happy with where I'm at the moment with these bevels. So these guys are going to be ready now for a couple of, probably do like 2 batches of 4. I can't do any more than that. I'm probably even struggle with 4. I'm probably better off doing 3. But it means that these are now ready. I've taken the bevels down to about, I think it's, I used a very worn 120 belt to let me, you know, get these going. And more than anything, it actually probably taken me a lot longer than it would normally to do this. But what I found, even with the Scandis, they seem very easy and quick to do, but they're very, very easy to ruin. You could one bit of extra pressure and it bites in. It can bite into the edge to the point whereby that blade's ruined. You know, you can't keep going to get rid of it like you can work a bit out. You can work some of the mistakes out on the higher grinds. The Scandis, you can't. You know, they are pretty much, especially once you're getting down there, they're getting to almost a one-shot deal, and which is a bit, gets a bit stress going. But by using more of a warm belt then to try and get them ready, because I'll take these down to 240 now by hand, ready for hardening and heat treating process. But what it did though was give me the opportunity to get my technique going. So whereas it might have taken me sort of like 10 or 12 passes to clean the grit, to clean the bevels down, whereas normally it would probably on a 120, which would be the second stage, might only take me 3 or 4 or something like that. It's given me that chance to start building up that muscle memory. So there's a bit of a tip for you guys if anybody's actually wanting to do things like this, and you're on you're on your journey like I am. Like I say, doing that gave me the opportunity to spend twice as much time and try to get my stance right, the position of the belt on the platen, and the body movements and everything. Keep those elbows in. Do it big body moves, so you're swaying the body, and big body movements which are much more repeatable and easier to repeat on either side. You haven't got all the little nuances of little twists of your wrists and your fingers and things like that. So that's where these are at, and on to the next job. Hope you found that interesting. On to the next job. Alright guys, it's now been time to get everything out of the kiln. I can't get me on hand what I'm doing, but what I'm going to start with here is, how much I've got? Check the time. Yep, I'll give that on a minute. I'm going to get the heated piece of steel out first. That'll help to warm up the tongs and warm up the oil, ready for quenching, and then I'll get the pieces straight into there. Already got the small oven warmed up, and again check that with the old digital thermometer, digital infrared thermometer, make sure everything's okay. And here we go. Whoa, warm on a cold day. One second, that. Turn that off. And here we go. Wiggle round, get the oil warm. Got to be careful you don't get it too hot. Nearly. Right, pop this. Few tissues ready, catch the oil, and we're ready to crack. Ready to rock and roll. There we go, everything should be warmed up a bit, and the first piece coming out now. There we go. Don't wave it around, get it on straight in. There we go. And backwards and forwards. Up and down, not side to side. keep it moving to stop the bubbles getting, it forms, apparently it can form like a, almost like a little bubbles around it, which is almost like a shield, keeping it away from the oil, which then obviously stops it from cooling down. You can see how the, oh, I might not be able to see, but the carb breaking off it, that's done. Okay, first one, give that a quick wipe, get rid of some of the oil, get some of that carb on there, straight into the little oven, keep it warm. There we go. And that's one. I tend to only do, I'm doing 3 or so at the minute, 3 maybe 4, but as I get better I might be able to do more. And again, oops, straight in. There we go, and up and down. Stay up and down, backwards and forwards. Up and down. Taking the oil as well. That's good. Big piece of steel seems to make seems to really heat the oil quickly, but the thinner steel on the knife doesn't seem to have quite as much effect on it, and I seem to find I can get 4 out of this can without it, you know, pushing the temperature up much above about 180. Somewhere between 180 and 200. I start off at about 130. There we go. That's another one. Definitely too hot to handle. Not smoking or anything. And that carb. Oh, right, come on. Check the temperature on that one. Seemed a bit hot. No, that's good. Spot on. Oven. There we go. And last but not least, here we go. And straight in. Spot on. There we go. Some of the oil off, just wiping the oil off really, just to give some of the anti-carb, and it doesn't smell so much. I'll give these a little wipe as I take them up and put them in the oven up in the house, simply because if I don't, I make the whole house smell like a fish and chip shop. So that's the 3 blades I've got. They're all hardened now, like I say, into my little oven, and that'll keep them warm while I make sure that I've got exactly the temperature I want on the main oven. Then they're going to go in there for the first temper cycle, which will be a good 2 hours. So obviously I'm not going to keep filming all the way through that, but that's that bit done, and I'll catch up with you later, guys.